The most prominent of the revolutions, I guess, have been Egypt, which is sad in some ways because a lot of people in different parts of the Middle East are also coming out on the streets and being beaten up for it, and they're struggling a great deal. We talked a lot about Egypt during the mediations and during our discussions, and we had the privilege of talking to some Egyptians who are part of the fellowship, and that really was great. Coming from Pakistan, which is also a Muslim country, struggling with a lot of the issues that Egypt struggles with, I do feel like a direct connection and a direct interest in what is going to happen in Egypt. We also have high unemployment, high inflation, a very strong military, a tradition of dictatorships, and to me, it's inspiring that what happened in Egypt happened the way it is. For other reasons, I know maybe potentially it can happen in Pakistan, but if Egypt and Egyptians now are able to set up a very open, transparent, good, maybe Islamic system that can go, that can be Islamic and can be open at the same time, it would be great for the rest of the Muslim world, for Pakistan, because we could look at it as an example to say, yes, we can be Muslim, but we don't need to be close-minded. We don't need to have blasphemy laws which kill people if they just voice their opinions of another religion, or if they are from another religion. We don't need to mistreat minorities because we are Muslim. So I'm very interested in seeing and hoping that Egyptians will be able to set up such a system, because I think that would have a positive effect in my country and the region in general.
Great, great. Um, so you mentioned the effect Egypt can have on other parts of the world and for example, is Pakistan. But what what does the rest of the world outside maybe the Muslim, predominantly Muslim societies and countries, what can the rest of the world, which role can they play in these transformations that you just described?
I think the most important fact about the revolutions that have happened in Egypt and Tunisia is the fact that people chose. People decided to come out with their own opinion, and they are trying to set up their country the way they want to. And I've heard many counter arguments about the fact that maybe the people aren't ready for it. Maybe they won't choose rightly. And there is that fear that maybe people will, not choose rightly, and maybe we should help them, and maybe we should figure out for them. But I think if we do that, we fall right back into the same problems, that something that is being imposed top down instead of coming from bottom up. And maybe the rest of the world can just support that, support and be patient that they are trying, and that setting something up, something that the people of the countries that had revolutions want themselves. And I think that's really important, because unless you give time to these countries to choose and develop on their own terms, maybe they will never be what we consider a free, open society. Because if you look at all of the Western world as well, they went through all of this. Many people compared all of these revolutions to the revolutions of Europe in 1848, and so how country after country after country followed suit and threw over the system in their countries. So it's just give them time, let them do it. They will hopefully do what is best for them, and that will be best for the region.
Great, great. So you express, give them time, let them do it themselves. But in that sense, you speak out a lot of faith and believe that this process will go through. But what will be your fears or concerns related to these developments?
I have the idealistic view about Egypt. Not an Egyptian, only have surface level information coming from there, try to get more information, but I recognize the fact that no matter how hard I try, I can't really figure out what's happening within the Egyptian mind at this point in time. But I can connect the concerns and fears is that by mirroring that such a situation in Pakistan, for example. So my concerns and fears would be, even though I say that give the people a chance, I would be concerned and I would be fearful that extremism, which has become such a big part of our debate since 9/11, might use that vacuum. And I know I might be mirroring opinions that appear very often in media, Western media especially, that there is that fear. But the fear does exist, and the fear exists even for moderates in that part of the world. At the same time, I still say that even if I'm fearful, I should fearfully step into it, because if I don't, we'll never give them the opportunity. So they might choose wrong in this weird definition of right or wrong, but they still have to choose it themselves.
All right, great. So, as a last question, I mean, yeah, you have been speaking about your expectations and your hopes, but if you would phrase it in one sentence or one phrase, what is your hope for the situation in the Middle East?
In recent times, I've come to regard that if people vote, choose their leaders from from bottom down, they have their council people, the mayors, then their representatives. I think it works pretty well. They're first going to build a constitution. I would hope that they would build a constitution which is, oh, one sentence.
Maybe you can continue and then.
I wish that the people would set up a constitution that respects human rights world over and is something that can engage them in civic participation to improve their country.